moment of shared awareness in the world. And I think that our most successful haiku come not from the intellect, not from the imagination, but from direct experience. It's sort of an moment that happens in our ordinary lives. It's a moment when we blink with surprise. For example, we look into the eyes of a tiny dragonfly and suddenly we see a huge mountain. This is the instant where we go, oh, and we're not thinking. So this moment of not thinking is where the true haiku comes from. If the haiku are not based on moments of unpredictable astonishment, if they are imagined or thought up, or if they are cleverly contrived, sometimes they just, boom, they fall flat. And if they are cloned from haiku written by old masters, they exist as counterfeits. Now, Basho said, "Do not seek to follow in the footsteps of the masters. Seek what they sought." I think that the gift of haiku is that it allows us a moment of calm amid the madness of the world. I wanted to talk about also the fact that we could think of haiku as miniature ecosystems. There are little biological environments where air and soil and water and sunlight and human emotions, every organism and all sentient beings interact. Here's a haiku by the 20th century poet Takahashi. "Inside, one potato, mountains and rivers." Such a beautiful poem. It wakes us up. And here's another poem written by the 19th century poet Aesop, Japanese poet, very famous in Japan. And translated into English, it goes like this. "A single mat beneath a pine tree makes a summer mansion." So Isa's outdoor mansion, the tatami mat under the single pine tree, implies open sky, open mind. A mind big enough and clear enough to understand the small. And I think his message of simplicity asks us to consider, how much do we need in our lives? What can we do without? How can we pause from our habits and our routines and regain a humble perspective? Now, our favorite haiku masters roamed the world with a kind of a third eye, haiku eye, child's eye. The poet Buson got down on his knees one summer on I think the 18th century, and he brought a caterpillar up to his eyes, like a little boy would do. And what did he see? On the hairs of the caterpillar, beads of dew. Now, these are things that we often miss as adults. We forget that we must get closer to things. Stop the world. Be present in the moment. Don't step on the caterpillar or shoo it away. If that's what you usually do, you break that habit and bring it up close to your eye and examine it closely as an equal to your human world. Now, speaking of the haiku master Buson, one time a student asked him, "Master, which door should I open to reach the innermost room of the haiku practice?" And Buson, the poet, replied, "Well, there is no door to haiku. There is only the haiku door itself. In other words, just keep writing. When you have enough haiku, look them over, maybe not on a computer screen, print them out, write them out, cut them up, put them on the floor, enter the door of each of your haiku, and determine which doors have led you into new and further discoveries. That will be the best way to learn. Now, Buson also stressed the importance of choosing appropriate friends to communicate with to help you toward your goal. Under favor, your haiku practice will develop. Under disfavor, it'll go away. And that's what we're doing here, is we're encouraging each other. We're making an exchange, we're creating a dialogue in favor of haiku. When I arrived yesterday and began to meet the members of this conference, I realized I was totally at home. I had the sense that we were here to share, that there was camaraderie, that there was no competition. I live 12,000 miles away from here in the Rocky Mountains of North America in a village of 1,400 people. It's bilingual, we speak Spanish and English. And yet here I am in the Punjab, feeling so happy, and that people are so willing to give me a hug and share their world and invite me into their world. This is truly a fantastic experience for me. I'm going to end now, but I wanted to say that I have a great respect. I've been reading the 15th century Indian poet, philosopher Kabir, and I noticed how he is always turning things around. And I think that's a good part of our practice. Is the glass of water on top of the table? Or is the table under the water? How have we been looking at it? It doesn't take too much to turn it around. One of Kabir's songs, in one of his songs, he sings, "I've put out the flame, there is no more smoke from the lamp, only the moon is left, nothing else." What is essential to our practice is to be able to see the moon clearly. No I, no me, no self in the way of the moon. We can leave the self behind when we write haiku. So I think that to write a good haiku, we must lead an everyday life with no superior notion of ourselves in regards to a fly or a pine needle or a raindrop or the beggar on the curb. There are no castes in the world of haiku. There's no hierarchy. And one of the final things I want to say is how important solitude is to our practice of haiku. Spend some time alone every day. I know that Tagore spent his formative years with the Ganges as a companion. I know that Gandhi had the Himalayan foothills and that in America Thoreau had Walden Pond. But you don't have to become a hermit to enjoy solitude. You just make time for it in your daily life. For example, my wife has an extremely busy day, but within it she has her morning practice of writing tanka. Whether in her room or sitting in the garden, she knows when she is there to write those tankas, she is there to focus, to slow down, to see what's going on in nature, to see what's going on inside herself. And this shift from being busy to being in a meditative state where you're doing nothing, nothing doing, everything unfolding, changes her approach to the rest of the day. How she relates to her surroundings, how she relates to others, how she relates to herself. So there is great satisfaction in telling yourself, yes, 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 I'm busy, but I have the power to carve out 20 minutes or so to become aware of my surroundings and myself in an entirely different way than being busy allows us. So it's really up to each one of us to rearrange our lives, rearrange our daily routine so we can let the haiku moment surprise us. Now, I'm going to close with these words. I'm actually going to close with the words of two pretty famous American musicians. The first one is the great jazz musician Miles Davis. And he once told his students, Don't play what's there. Play what's not there. Play what's not there. And I also wanted to close with these words by a much younger musician, American jazz musician, Wynton Marsalis. He said, "Don't worry about what others say about your music. Pursue whatever you are hearing. Don't settle for style. Succeed in substance. Invest yourself in everything you do. There's fun in being serious." Thank you so much.